Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Soulution Live Show. I'm your host, Jody Almond, and this is the show where we take you from struggle to success so that you can live the rest of your life as the best of your life. And today I want to come to you and talk to you about a time management tip, because so many people that I talk to struggle with managing their time or managing themselves within the time they have and becoming what I call a time bender, right? And what a time bender is being able to make the most and maximize your minutes. And in doing that, I've been featured in different online articles and different things among some really great and high knowledgeable people in the time management industry. And, you know, I just know how to do this because for years I have been not only a full-time pastor, but an employee of companies, running my own business, as well as writing a book and, you know, helping with my family full-time and doing all these things. And I've wore 10 hats in a single day, but still accomplished everything I needed to do. And so, I know a lot about it, and I've had to learn systems and techniques and tips and tricks that have worked for me. And then I take those and I apply them to my clients, and they find great success in time management. So I wanted to come to you today and share one of those tips with you and just help you and encourage you to be able to do better and become more productive with your time and become a fellow time bender, right? Now, this is what I've said. If God gave us 24 hours in a day, there has to be enough time for us to do what we need to do. One of the big things is that when we're making out our list, we need to make sure that we're using priorities. Now, we say that in the plural form, but if you really go back when the word was originally introduced to the English language, it only was a priority. And a priority was your number one thing you really had to do in the day. It wasn't a list of things. It was one thing. What is your one thing? Now, I know we're all busy, and I know we all have a lot of things to do, and we have our work life, we have our personal life, we have our faith-based life. So a lot of times that one thing is one thing per area, or maybe at work, we have three things. We have one thing we need to get done in our personal life today, that can't wait. We got to take the trash to the our garbage to the driveway so the trash truck can pick it up. And then in our faith-based life, we have that one thing. So we have all these things that we have to get done. We'll realize the problem is when we put so many priorities on our list that it messes us up. So here's what you can do, and here's what works for the most successful people in the world, including yours truly. And so what happens is you want to take every night before you go to bed, and you want to create a list of no more than 5 priorities, okay, that you have to accomplish by the next day. So what I'm saying is you want to sit down, and I encourage you to write this with a pen or pencil and paper, marker and paper. If you've got a whiteboard, write it on your whiteboard or on your chalkboard that you can physically see. Just have it somewhere you can physically see it. You can also back it up in your phone and put notes in your phone if you're on the go. But I know for me, you can see real quick, this isn't what I've got on it right now, but I've got a little whiteboard that I use a lot. And I use that whiteboard because it's there. I can write on it. I can color code it. I can make sure. So if you write your 5 things on your whiteboard that you have to do today, the next day, the night before you go to bed, and put them in prioritization. So in other words, if the main thing you have to get done tomorrow is a concept for work or a task for work, and that has to be done, or if you're self-employed and you're an entrepreneur and the one thing you have to get done is X and Y and Z are next in priority, and then you have your personal stuff, and then you have this, then make sure you prioritize it. Maybe your personal thing comes top because it's like, I have to get the trash can to the road tomorrow morning, first thing, or the trash truck, I'll miss it. So, okay, so that's at the top. How long is it going to take you to do that? 5 minutes? Do it. Knock it out. Go take your trash to the road, then come back and work. Now, here's the key is you want to make sure you're making this list. Some people call this their power list. But when you make this list, you want to make sure that you're either color coding it or writing it in order from 1 to 5. So 1 is my highest. Now, there's a lot of tips that go along with this to help you become more productive and stay focused and to get the job done. But the main thing I want you to do is you have to start somewhere. And sometimes we're not intentional enough about ruling our day, seizing our day, carpe diem. We're not intentional enough. So we wake up and we're like, okay, so what is it I have to do today as we're drinking our coffee, and we're trying to figure it out, on the cuff. We're trying to figure it out as we go. And I don't want you to be a fly by the seat of your pants kind of person, because then what happens is that the day ends up getting control of you. But if you're intentional about your day, the day before, it's been proven that you go to bed and you sleep better because you know what you have to accomplish the next day. And guess what? It's not so overwhelming that you can't do it. Now, you may be asking, Jody, okay, you're telling me to have a list of 5 things I need to do. What if I can't do those 5 things? What if the day gets ridiculously crazy and something happens and I just don't accomplish it? Well, here's what I tell people. You want to make sure you do your top 3. Your top 3 are things that can't wait. They can't be put off. Now, you never want to have 5 big projects ever in a day. So when you're making your list, consider that. You don't want to have 5 things that are all going to take 3 hours a piece, right? Or even 2 hours a piece. So you want to have that big project, and you want to actually, if at all possible, always put your big project first. Get it out of the way so the rest of your day runs on cruise control. Because if you could knock that out, now the overwhelm is off of you. Now the pressure is off of you. So knock out that big project first, if in any way possible. And then you want to move into the other sides of what you're doing, because here's what I know is that when you manage your day, it's why it's called time management. You're managing your day, and you're doing this the night before. Now, you can have it sketched out for the week. I think that's very great and brilliant to do. But then the night before, you want to look and you want to say, okay, so tomorrow is, Wednesday. What do I have to do on Wednesday? So for example, let me throw this at you and tell you, I know every Wednesday that I have some church activities that we're doing virtually that I have to do. I have to make sure they're there. If I haven't already preloaded them in the week, I have to make sure they're there. So that involves a little bit of communication with the church family. That involves making sure I'm ready for the class. That involves making sure I have the time set out. So I have to make sure that's set out for the day, and that's a priority. I'm going to make sure that's done. Then I also know that on Wednesdays, I usually have some kind of clients I'm working with. So I have to see what clients I have scheduled and see that's a priority. That's what I do. Right. And then in between that, I might have on Wednesday that, I have, to go and do some errands or whatever it is. So you fill in the gaps with the other things. But here's the point is you want to make sure the top 3 things are always getting taken care of. And to be honest, when you use all the aspects that I teach in time management, it becomes very fluid and it becomes very productive, because what you find is that you're getting more done in less time. Because what happens is when you don't plan, when you don't schedule, when you don't manage, when you're not intentional, you wake up and you end up thinking through every little aspect of everything you've done instead of looking at your list and saying, okay, for the next 2 hours, that's what I have to work on. I have to work on sitting here and doing nothing but writing on this next book. I have to do nothing but work on this task for my job. For the next 2 hours, I'm doing nothing but homeschooling my kids because of COVID. I've become a homeschool teacher. You understand what I'm saying? And so what I'm trying to tell you is if you be intentional, if you will plot it out like a scene in a movie, plot out your next day, list your top 5 things you have to do, no more than 5. You're not allowed any more than 5. And they can't be huge. They can't all be big boulders, right? They have to be a boulder and, a medium-sized rock and some small rocks and some sand, right? So you can't have all boulders. But here's what you need to realize is you're putting those things in prioritization on your list. Now you can color code it or you can do it from 1 to 5, but you want to prioritize, and you want to wake up, and the first thing you do after you wash your face, brush your teeth, get your shower, whatever, is you glance at your priority board and you say, that's the first thing I have to do. And I've set my time to do that at X time. Be so intentional that you even set the time you're going to do it the next morning, right? And you've set your time and you say, okay, so at 7 a.m., I'm jumping on that big project from 7 to 9. And by 9 o'clock, when some people are starting their day, I've gotten my biggest task out of the way. And I promise you, my friend, then you're going to move to task number 2 in a minute. Then you're going to move to task number 3 a little bit later. And then by after lunch, you've got sand and water you're dealing with. No biggie. No biggie. And you knock those out and you look at the end of your day and you see what you've achieved and you're like, wow, I really ruled my day. And it'll give you incentive to continue this process. Just like anything, this has to become a habit. It's not going to be natural to you, so you have to be intentional. And I encourage you to start today. Before you go to bed tonight, sit down with a whiteboard, with a notebook, a pen, paper, marker, whatever. Make it where it's visible, where you can see it. And I want you to write out your top 5 things you have to do on tomorrow. And then think about it, be intentional about it, go to bed relaxed. You already have tomorrow wrapped up, ready to go. And all you have to do now is implement by getting up and taking care of it. You've been intentional. Now implement your strategy and watch what happens. I'm telling you guys, you ladies, this works. It's been successful for so many of my clients, including myself. And this is what your most successful people in the world are utilizing. This is one of the strategies on how to control their day and get so much accomplished. So this is the show where we take you from struggle to success, teaching you how to live your best life for the rest of your life. I'm Jody Almond. It's been a pleasure to be with you. And I want you to know that I want you to be blessed, and I'm praying for your success. Hey, always feel free to reach out to me and let me know some concepts you're struggling with, things that you would like for me to teach on that's within my niche. I teach on tech. I teach on time management. I teach on faith. I teach on purpose. I teach on a lot of things. So reach out and let me know how I can help you, and I'll be doing some teachings on those things. But until we talk again, remember, God bless, and I'm praying for your success. Have a great day.